Thanks so much for joining us. This is Metaphysical Empowerment and Wellness Events. We have fairs throughout the Northwest, and we interview our practitioners and vendors so you get to know who we are before you meet us in person. So I'm here today interviewing Sarai Johnson. Sarai, great to have you. Please share a bit with us about... No, you're welcome. Please share a bit with us about your work and what you share at the events.
Sure. So I help audacious souls bring their sacred work to life in the world without burning out or selling out. I'm a holistic business coach, and I help people take what's inside them that they really know that they're called to do here and turn it into a business that feeds their life instead of having a business that takes their life from them. And at the events, I do kind of quicker things. So I do some oracle readings and some intuitive kind of quick laser coaching is what I call it. So really focused 20-minute to 30-minute sessions with people to help them with like one specific thing in their life or their business.
That's great. And has intuitive work always been part of how you practice, or is it something that came in over time?
It's definitely always been a part of it, but I haven't always been honest about it. So it's sort of a thing that's evolved over time, that intuition and kind of spiritual knowing and understanding and sentience has always been a part of my work. But I haven't always led with that. So it's been kind of an interesting process to start to lead with that. And kind of put that foot forward in the world instead of sneaking it in, like through the back door, which is sort of what I've been doing for quite some time. And it feels a lot better to sort of just be honest about that and to bring it forward and to be real about what I'm actually offering to people.
No, it's great. I think just, most practitioners have some exploration of coming out of the metaphysical closet. And, like we have, layers of clientele, and then how do we integrate and share all that? So how did you first notice your intuition just earlier on in your life? What was your process of opening?
Well, I have always had intuitive knowing since I was a child, and I've always had clairvoyant dreams. And they're always something just super mundane and boring. It's something like somebody's pouring a kettle of tea, or somebody is like, recently somebody was having a meeting in my office in a chair that no one usually sits in, and I was like, oh, I just had this dream, like, stuff like that. That's sort of just these little moments where I'm like, oh, I've been here before, I've like recognized this. They're sort of like deja vu, but just boring, like boring deja vu.
So just like casual everyday things and the meaning in those experiences.
Yeah, exactly. And even when I was a kid, I actually grew up religious, and so I had a youth pastor. It was at a Christian church, and I was like, what does it mean when, what does deja vu mean? Or like, why do I have these dreams that come true? And she was actually really supportive about it, and which is surprising actually to think about it in a religious context. Where she was like, in a way, it's just like God's letting you know you're on the right path, or something simple like that. And so I kind of took that to heart and started to cultivate those dreams, and started to cultivate lucid dreaming. And I use a lot of dream work as well. And then over time, I've also started to integrate a lot more shadow work. And I've always been interested in sort of the spiritual significance behind everything that I do. So I worked in nonprofits for a long time, and then I became a nonprofit consultant. And what I found myself doing in that realm even was kind of finding this space between. And like the space between is sort of where I always am. So I'm between like action and business models, and be more efficient and measure results, but also this like bigger philosophical, spiritual stuff around martyrdom and archetypes and mission mirroring, and how we are doing our work and why it's playing out the way it is with our scripts and our masks and all of that. So that's been something that's really been interesting to also kind of observe, and then to start to make sense of as I've added tools to my tool belt in yoga and Reiki, and kind of adding some energetic understanding and experience and certifications to that array as well.
Oh, it's great. I love hearing you share about all this. Very exciting. Are there typical themes that people come to you for sessions with, like asking particular types of questions? Or?
Yeah, actually, there are two things that most of the people I work with have in common. And they are usually people who come through the nonprofit sector and want to be a nonprofit consultant, since that's a big part of my background. Or they're people who are here to do something that is healing work, or work that is really all of it's healing, honestly, whatever modality that is, whether it's really like the more traditional, I'm a Reiki practitioner, a yoga teacher, or whatever, or if it's something else that, it's a coaching thing or a decolonization. I mean, it's big stuff, systemic dismantling and so forth. But most of the people that come to me are coming from this really altruistic place, and they experience some conflict around their feelings and ideas about money and their receptivity to asking for and receiving money and understanding how to use money. And that's one really huge theme that people have, one of the kind of energetic obstacles or blocks that people have. And the other really big one is a challenge around self-promotion. So most of the people that I work with are awesome at shining a light on, like, here's my cause. Pay attention to this beautiful thing in the world that I care about, my nonprofit work or my healing work or whatever. It's not even my healing work or my nonprofit. That's even a step too far for most of these people. But it's really hard for them to in turn take that spotlight and shine it on themselves to promote what they're doing. So a lot of people are really resistant to bringing their work to people because they feel like they're being salesy or pushy or annoying, or they don't want to bother people. They just want to give their wonderful work to the world. And so a lot of the work that I do with people is to help them to dissolve those shifts, those obstacles that they have to self-promotion and getting their work out there, instead of seeing it as I'm bothering people or I'm selling people, to really see it as like, how can I offer my gifts and have those gifts be sustained? And the work that you're bringing into the world deserves to be supported and should be supported. And so like aligning that with how they show up to do their work is a really big part of what we do together.
No, that's great. Super important, right? So important for all the people that attend our events and also for the people practicing at our events too, right? So we
Yeah.
just shine like what we are and make it available to others and support us continuing to give it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. It's great. Well, if people want to learn more about you, how can they find out more about you on the web?
I have a website at sarai-johnson.com.
Maybe could you spell your name, since it's a little unusual spelling?
Yeah, people don't know how to spell that? Okay, just kidding. It's Sarai Johnson, JOHNSON. I have one normal name, one weird way. One weird name .com. And you can also find me with that on LinkedIn, or I have a Facebook page as well. So you can probably Google me and find me pretty easily too.
That's great. So thank you so much. And so for those of you watching and listening, you can come meet us all in person at our fairs, learn more about us online at MetaphysicalEmpowermentEvents.com. We have fairs currently in Seattle, Portland, Eugene, and Salem. They're growing. Some of our fairs now are up to 45 practitioners, and even the one in Portland is now growing and will probably be at least 30. We look forward to connecting with you. Take care.